beautiful people! This is our first live stream, or my first live stream. Very excited. And actually,
Hey people!
I have a special guest for you guys. My boyfriend Matt is also here. And yeah, it's really nice to have you,
It's nice to
as
be here.
always.
You have to
because-
tell me if you can't see me. You realize how I'm quite tall actually. Taller than I realised. So if you can just see my neck, maybe say, or if you can't hear me, because I talk a bit quieter than Vroni anyway.
Yes, I'm the shouter and you
Yeah,
are
I'm the whisperer and a bit gentler, my voice. So tell me if you can't hear me.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for being here with me, Matt, because I was quite nervous. Like, life is really something different than, recording videos beforehand and then doing that. But I think it's something that I'm super enjoying, and we'll actually have a question about this. Like, what do you do if you are afraid of something? Is that for you? And yes, I absolutely do believe, because we have to get out of the comfort zone to actually have expansion. Otherwise, it's just a boring life, and we will never really fully develop. And like all the things that have made me nervous in my life have brought me so much forward. So that's super, super great. So I would say we're gonna get started now. So today I just want to answer questions, because in my practice as a completion process practitioner, I so often have people answer me questions, and of course I do not have the time to answer all of them on Facebook and stuff, so I thought I'll do it here on YouTube Live so that everyone can basically benefit. And hey, I see that there's like 2 viewers. If you're live, can you just like write something, say hey, we're there, so we can shout out to you guys. Okie dokie, so let's get started. Ah yeah, you read it out. That's why I have my assistant here.
So I'm the question master now.
Oh yeah, and maybe guys, if you're watching, can you tell us how the audio and the video is, because it's our first session, so I don't know, I would need your feedback for that. Oh, Alaska, hello, this is so cool.
Funny. Hi Alaska, are you in Alaska, or is your name Alaska, or maybe both? Okay, let's see. So Vroni hasn't seen these questions.
No.
They're secret.
Secret question. Amanda, hey, thanks for your support. Oh.
Okay, so the first question, this question is from Sarah. I don't know if Sarah's on, but if you are, hello, Sarah. So, Teal said that you should do the job that brings you the most fun, follow the joy. If something makes me tired and I'm nervous, does that mean it's not my purpose?
Yeah, all right. So, to answer this question, first of all, I wanted to say that we are humans, right? And humans get tired. So, for example, if an athlete and it's his absolute passion and his absolute purpose still gets tired after he's practicing, because this is how we humans are wired. So it is absolutely normal that you get tired. And the question was about doing the completion process. And for example, in my practice, and I do believe it's absolutely my purpose to be a practitioner, I am tired afterwards and I'm depleted of energy, because this is how I'm wired and I need rest. And so that's the first part of the question. And the other one was if you are afraid of it, I think. So as I mentioned before, being excited is, first of all, actually a really cool feeling. And it's only that we get traumatized around not being good enough that the excitement actually has this kind of like negative touch, and becomes nervousness. Like when you see kids, I mean, they're just excited without fear. And that's actually how they do all these cool and fun things. And I think we as adults, we know with all our traumas and triggers, I believe that to have the best life, you should always slightly go out of your comfort zone, Like, this is really the best example with doing this Q&A live. I was like so nervous 2 hours ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna get sick and I don't want to do it. But actually, it was just fantastic, and now I'm doing it, and it's great, and I'm like developing. And yeah, and sure, I will do mistakes. I'm always not going to be perfect, but I think that it's absolutely normal, And it's actually like the best thing. The advice I would give you is do a completion process around your trauma of not being good enough so that you can try without this horrible fear of failing. Yeah.
Cool.
Great question.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question from... Oh, you look and sound great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if you're referring to the video quality or just looking great. But thank you. Another question. Are you supposed to really work with a particular inner part until it's in a more integrated place, even if this stops you from working, etc.? So I think they're asking, like, when you're really doing this work, how focused on it should you be? As in, should you be, number one in your life thing? I think that's what the question is asking.
Yeah, I also talked to her a bit about it, and I think how she meant it was also, so Teal basically says that you shouldn't do anything in life unless you have lowered your resistance. Mm-hmm. So that means that if you feel a little bit of resistance, deal with the resistance first before you do something, and so basically get all your parts into alignment. And yes, I absolutely agree. Of course, what Teal says is true, that like to have the best results, it makes sense. Hi, Emma. To have the best results, it makes sense that all your parts are aligned, because then you get the best possible outcome. However, the reality is though that sometimes we need to do things that you have to get done. And one example is, for example, making dinner for your kids. You have to make dinner. So I think that in an ideal world, where we would just live to spiritually expand and to heal our traumas, it would be possible to always do that. But I think it's good to be just easy on yourself and to be like, what are the things that are okay with me, postponing, and some other things I have to do with resistance, and that's also okay. And you don't also need to, you don't need to wait until you're a fully integrated human to live. But if I give you like advice, maybe you can do it with very small things. So let's say you want to open up a business, but you feel resistance, and then you have 10 minutes, and you could either do like a task that you can also maybe do later, maybe social media or something, or you could do this 10 minutes to spend on working on your inner parts. I would say use those 10 minutes working on your inner parts, getting everything in alignment, and that is much more beneficial in the long term than doing something short that is not super important. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Really good one.
Cool. Okay, let's see.
So Emma also came in here. Hi Emma, thanks for checking in. Really lovely to have you. And anyway.
Let's see. Another question. So a question from Amelia. How can I find out how many different parts I have?
Okay, so I think I was thinking a bit about this question beforehand, and I think that one reason why we asked this question is a little bit about to kind of like get an idea how long our healing actually will take. And I can totally understand that, of course, because if you're in a place that is really painful, we just want to heal and we want to heal. But the problem is that you will probably, like, it even stops your expansion and even stops your healing, because you basically just want yourself to get better and you don't accept yourself. So that's the first part. The second part also about it is that you are basically an infinite universe. You're a mirror of the outer universe, and your inner verse is also. And I would like to invite you to get a different perspective on this. So when I do parts work, yes, I come across shadows and really painful things, but I've come across greatest skills, like abilities that I don't have, because they are like, you see that when in the shadows, there's not just the painful stuff and shame. There's also great abilities and skills that you are also rejecting, because you're also being shamed for these amazing abilities. And so I would invite you to maybe change a bit the perspective on parts work and see like wow, this is actually the possibility to discover so many amazing things and aspects of myself that are just wonderful, and that it becomes more of a discovery. And then also, there's also not really, you don't really need to know how much work there is, because whatever is being revealed to you in the moment, that's what you need to work on. Like step by step, and your consciousness will always tell you, like, whatever's coming up in that moment, that's what you should focus on. And there's no, you cannot do anything wrong. Like, yeah. Thanks, Emilia.
Cool. Some comments here. What's this?
Emma says, that's really cool finding hidden skills. I love that. Oh, thanks, Emma.
That's nice. Yeah, I think it's slightly delayed, I think, from maybe when you guys are messaging and when they pop up here. I think it's delayed maybe 30 seconds or something.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, the next question.
So, let's see. So, a question from Stefania. When you're doing CP and you're in the safe haven, but there's things that happen that sort of sabotage your visualization, i.e., you're popping the old memory of a needle, and the needle stays and wants to hurt you or sabotage something. What does this mean, and how are you supposed to deal with this?
Yeah, so that's such a great question, Stefania. Thank you for submitting it. This is actually something that happens with some clients very regularly. And I actually have a lot of knowledge about this because it happens with me all the time. And I actually was able to deal with it through CPs. So what that means, if something is sabotaging, or let's say a person that you felt safe suddenly turns against you, it usually means that in your childhood there was no safety or not much safety, and that you have experienced that good things turn against you. You know, that a person you thought you could trust that actually betrayed you. And so it creates the belief in you that you can't trust anything, nothing is really safe, and also that good things don't last long, and at some point they turn against you. So how you deal with it is that you have to basically outsmart the belief. And we call it, as CP practitioners, and Thiel calls it mental chess. So you're playing a chess game against this belief. It is, however, quite hard to do this on your own, because your belief is really shaping your reality and your thoughts. So the best thing you can do is do the CP with a practitioner and let them support you in outsmarting. And how that looks practically, let's say we use the example with the needle. You know, so you want to pop the bad memory like we do in the safe haven with a needle, boom, and then the needle turns against you. If you would be my client and that would be happening, I would say, okay, so how about you imagine that there's a protective layer around you that nothing can go through, first of all, so that you're safe. If that feels good with the client, we'll go on to the next phase. Let's say, can you imagine that that your safe support figure comes and is burying the needle in the ground, or he has a special magical solution to dissolve the needle. And it really doesn't matter what it is, as long as it feels good and it is possible to see in front of your mind's eye. And this is basically how you outsmart the belief. The good thing also is that when you do that, it's not just that the process can continue, but also that you actually are resolving the trauma around that things are not safe. And from my experience, like, I couldn't do visualizations or guided meditations for many years, because all the time I would have like visions of monsters coming and eating me, and like really horrible torture. And with that practice now, I was actually able to stop that. And it goes even so far that we now do it in our dreams. Like when we have a scary dream, beforehand we prepare and say, okay, if the scary dream is coming, I, for example, have someone to help me in my dream. However, the practice, we haven't done so much work with this, but I really want to evolve this, because it could be potentially like a possibility to deal with someone having bad dreams. Yeah. Let's take a little bit of tea, guys. Tea break.
It's a nice tea break.
Let's read some comments.
What else is here? Mm-hmm. 。
Oh, Amanda says, what about when you turn against them to push them away before they can hurt you? Yes, that's also an absolute possibility. Like you can use anything that in your mind's eye makes it possible for you to resolve the situation. So for some people, it's really about themselves, for example, fending the needle off, and that's really empowering. But some people also need help. And the beautiful thing about the CP is that it's a creation in your mind, so the possibilities are endless. It's like dream state, you're not bound to 3D reality. You can do whatever you like, and that's so cool. Yeah. Okay, cool.
We'll take some tea. Prepare the
Next question.
Ready for the next question?
Yes.
Okay. It's a question from Lindsay. It's a very good question. How do you know if CP is not good for you, or that you might be using it in a detrimental way? So, I mean, this for me is something I've worried about before. So I think it's a very good question.
Yeah, totally. So, in my experience, everyone can profit from doing the completion process because it is a process that has been designed to follow the natural trauma resolution, and so it's kind of like a biological reaction that you are actually following, and so that it's like so beneficial and amazing. However, what I've come to realize is that you can use the CP actually to engage in self-abusive behavior. So what I mean by that is, so in the CP and in shadow work in general, we always have this attitude that we face the fears, we face the negative emotions, or the uncomfortable emotions. We go towards what is painful, and that is important to heal the wound. But after that, in the CP, we go to resolving the situation, and we do things that make you feel really, really good and comfortable. And with my clients, actually, I try to have the second part that is all about making the child self feel good, as long as you make the other part where you feel the emotion, so that because that's actually the healing of the wound. So you could imagine, like, one part is to, like, if you have a wound, you wash it out, it's painful, a thing, but then you maybe close the wound, you lay in bed, you let it rest. So you do really the things that are healing. Some people, though, use the completion process in a way that they only engage in the part that is so painful. So they actually subconsciously use it to abuse themselves. So they stay for hours and hours and they say, oh, I need to feel my emotions, I need to feel my emotions. And they never get out of that, And that is a way that you can actually use the completion process in a negative way. And I would really encourage you, if you feel like that maybe that could happen, like, go to a practitioner, because they will make sure that in the end it's really about healing and integration and making you feel good and safe and loved. Yeah.
Oh, good answer.
Thank you. Are you learning something?
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to answer also this comment. I've reading it several times. So Alaska says, I have resistance to work, so I don't have a job. Oops, but I really need money. I don't take a job if I feel resistance to it. Yeah, I think what you're describing is exactly what I said, And it's really sad, because I can so understand that you have resistance to work, because most working conditions, it's not fulfilling. It's not nothing for your soul. But at the same time, the reality is you need money to survive, So I can absolutely understand. So yeah, my tip is because you see, if you can't manifest money, you also have resistance to money. So my advice would be, lower your resistance to work, or at least maybe do some shadow work to find out what could be something that wouldn't be so bad. And then also lower your resistance to having money, because of course in our universe you don't necessarily need to get work to get money. Okay, cool. Next question. Oh, this is actually a trial run, guys. So I didn't make it public. I just made it like just the people that I was giving the link because I was quite nervous, but it's going really well and I'm happy.
Nice. Okay, there's a question from. I'm actually looking, see the names, if any of the matches, anyone that's here. I don't think so.
Who is it?
No. No, I'm just seeing the rest. If there's anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a question from Lisa. She says, can you do the completion process with a feeling that is not overly strong? Do I have to deep dive into feelings for the process to work and feel through strong emotions? As sometimes a lot of mine happens through the imagination, intuitive mind, with subtle feelings. I'm basically unsure if I'm doing it right, even though I know it can be, although I know it can't be right.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the question from Lisa. Thanks a lot for submitting it. And doesn't he have a beautiful British accent? Okay, so Lisa, so I would say that in general, however you're able to do the process, do it. You know, if you're not able to go really deep, it's totally okay. Because I think that facing emotions can be really difficult, and I totally can understand that. And it's 100 times better you do it that way, that is, a bit more comfortable than not doing it. However, the process works the best if you can really access the emotions we felt during painful memories, and those are usually really strong. So in my practice, I realized that the clients have the best sort of resolving feeling and the best integration afterwards if they go really deep into the emotion. So I would encourage you to maybe slowly kind of like train to feel the emotion. But that is totally okay if it takes times and years. So, and especially also sometimes we are only able to feel the really deep emotions if you have a really supportive environment, if you have a really good practitioner to work with, if you have, good partners, good family, because it is very scary. So I definitely do not don't feel like bad about it or that you're doing something wrong or that you're not doing it right. I think that you're practicing is wonderful and is really great, and really do it however you can. And I wish that you will have a safe environment at some point that you can slowly go a bit deeper into the completion process.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Linda is here. Love this. She has a question. Linda will answer your question after we have answers, but I think it's not too many anyways. Nice.
Okay, we have a question from Monica. Let's see. She says, my CP sessions are always so profound and deep and utterly exhausting and overwhelming afterwards. What does this mean? What am I to do about this? Does it get easier?
Yeah, so thanks, Monica, for this question. And so I already answered this to you in the message because it was really important to me, because I can understand that, yeah, it makes you feel really like it's hard, afterwards. So what I want you guys to understand is that mental and emotional healing is the same as physical healing, but we can't see it. So it's so much it's understandable for people when they have a broken leg that they need to stay in bed for 6 weeks and that the healing will take time. And if someone even has a really severe condition, healing takes sometimes years, But with mental and emotional issues and problems, we can't see it. And also, of course, in our society, there's not so much knowledge about this, but really, especially if you have been severely traumatized, give yourself so much time to heal, And the reason why afterwards you feel really heavy and overwhelmed and tired is because the healing is really exhausting. To use the metaphor again, if you are in an operation afterwards, you need a long time to actually you know, be fully conscious again and be fully functioning. So I would encourage all my clients, and I do the same thing after CPs, take at least 2 hours, if not the whole day, to do self-soothing, to bath, to meditate, to read a book, to do things that feel good to you so that you really have time. And it is actually also much more beneficial for the whole process, because your system needs time to integrate all of that has new happened and to integrate like new patterns and everything. And I do believe that at some point it gets easier, but especially when you have been severely traumatized, then it will probably take over time. And yeah, I hope that you can find a way even to maybe connect with a partner or friends afterwards that can hold you, because yeah, it's real healing that we need afterwards. Oh, Monica is one of my clients, and yeah, I feel really deeply for her, and so I am sending so much love, Monica. You're an incredible person.
Okay. There's a question from Claudi, and it's in German. We have kann mal ein. It's embarrassing. No, I can't read this. Should we skip this one?
No, I can read it.
Are you going to answer it in German?
Yes.
Is there anyone German speakers?
I did a CP actually with a really good friend of mine, and I was super happy about it because we know each other for a long time, and it's like I can share something that is so important to me, and we had a beautiful session. And her question is, how often can you do a completion process? Like how, in what intervals, basically?
That's a very good question.
Yeah. So I know people that do it every day by themselves. When we did the training, we actually did it even a couple of times during the day because we had to practice on each other. And so you can definitely do that, and doing it very regularly is super positive. However, as I said before, you need time to integrate, and I think sometimes it's super beneficial to take a bit of time in between so that your body can really reset. And also, as I said, that you don't go into this mindset that I have to heal myself, because that again is like self-abusive. So I would say, when I work with clients, I would say every week, every 2 weeks is like perfect. So in between, you can think about things, and you can really understand what has happened, and then you can continue working. But it is definitely a process that is very good if you do it regularly. And I personally, I try to do it at least once a week with someone else. And I think I will do this for years and years and years. Because the beautiful thing is also like you uncover so many great things and so many great skills, So even if you feel like I think I personally went away from this mindset of, oh my gosh, I only do this when I'm super triggered, or I only do this to get away from severe emotional illnesses. Because right now I'm actually quite healthy, but I realized it helps me in reaching my goals. It helps me in liking myself more, which in itself, it helps me with our relationship like so much. Yeah, it's actually super wonderful.
Okay. So this is the last question we have. It's a question from Lee. He says, how to heal when you've experienced both withdrawal and enmeshment trauma, i.e. you're both codependent and narcissist. Ooh,
very juicy question.
Yeah, codependency is a topic I like. We had some nice breakthroughs of codependency at the weekend with me.
Yes.
So that was very nice.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Matt is a recovering codependent.
Yes, I am.
Does this mean I'm a narcissist?
Yeah, I've gone the other direction now. Full narcissism. That's why I'm in front of this webcam.
Yeah, actually, I would like to ask you guys a question. Can you comment? Do you guys know what codependency and narcissism is? because it is a really, really crucial topic to understand when you would like to understand trauma. And I'm kind of like planning a series on it, and I would like to know how your knowledge about codependency and narcissism is. Okay, so to answer Lee's question, it was about that he feels both like a codependent and a narcissist. So I would say, first of all, like, it is good to understand the labels, but do not identify too much with it, because it can really happen that you beat yourself up about this and you feel like a really bad person for doing this. That's the one thing. The second thing is that codependent and narcissists are actually very much the same thing. They both feel super alone, and they both have really bad boundary issues. Like, yeah, that basically defines them. So the codependent can't say no. They always do everything for everyone, and they always are like selfless and self-sacrificing, but really suffer because they just depleted of energy. And the narcissists, they can't say yes. They can't say, yes, I want to be connected with you, I want to be close to you. And yeah, they cannot connect with people. And yeah, so that's the other thing. Then the third thing is, we are all on a spectrum. I actually experienced the same thing. I experienced abandonment trauma and enmeshment trauma. So I both have codependency and narcissism in me. And it is totally fine, because you don't necessarily have to concentrate on this to heal it. What you need to learn is to have really, really strong sense of self, really, really strong boundaries, and to learn how to communicate them, and then automatically the codependency and the narcissism goes away. Yeah. So, but that's, it's a really, really broad topic, and I think I could make actually like a whole video about this. But yeah, my advice would be like, don't concentrate too much on it. Just become self-aware. When am I acting like a narcissist? When am I acting like a codependent? And then you can concentrate on setting strong boundaries.
Perfect.
Cool. And so we wanted to answer a question from Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Linda says, how to... oh yeah, and I think someone new came, like, please say hi to us. And we'd love to hear from you guys. And also maybe you can answer the question, what do you think of the sexy man at you? Do you want to have him in all my live streams?
It's a bonus question.
It's my boyfriend Matt. I don't know if you know him. Yeah, he's great. Okay, so Linda says, how to resolve unconscious issues with a parent. So
we both sigh.
Yeah.
I can't answer this question. It's too difficult.
So, first of all, my question would be, do you mean the parent is unconscious about it? Because you are probably conscious about the issue, right? If you are like saying this. So I think that relationships with parents are complicated, because what Teal always says is that, especially when you are living at home, you are basically in the war zone, and you are basically in the environment where you have been highly traumatized. You are triggered like all the time. So to actually find healing is super hard at home. So that's the one thing. Second thing is, making people aware of unconscious patterns is so hard. Making parents aware of unconscious patterns, like in ways that they have hurt you, is like the hardest, because it's hard for them, because basically you're telling them that you did something wrong with me, and I think you need to have really great self-awareness to accept that. Plus, also, we live in an age where it's not really common knowledge, like what a big influence parental relationships or parental behavior has on the child. So I would say the best thing that you can do is work on the parts of themselves that are your parents. Because basically, when in your childhood, at some point, when you get shamed from a parent, you create a part in yourself that mirrors that parent. And so that you start basically shaming yourself instead of the parent shaming yourself, because that's very painful. And what you could do is that you work with a part of themselves that represents your dad or your mom or other caregiver, and make peace with them. And that's like a first step, first of all, to feel better about this, because what's actually really painful is the relationship with all the parts in yourself. But also when you bring peace, it will influence the outer relationship. And then, of course, it's always great to, start a conversation and to communicate, but I think it can be really hard to do that. And yeah, quite triggering. And it can also be that your parents just simply don't understand. So yeah, I'm really, I really feel for you. I think that we both really know very well what you're going through. So yeah. Also, guys, please could you give me a like for the video, because it really super much helps, new channel to grow. So it would be like super cool if you could do that. Okay, so there is.
Yeah, there's another question here. Can you talk about parts work and how we can have separate parts within us and how we can heal that?
Okay, so that's a really big topic as well, but first of all, you can watch my parts work video. I recorded a session actually, so you can see what it can look like. Practically, you can find it on my channel. It's the last video I uploaded. So basically what's happening with fragmentation, with traumas, is that we create different parts in ourselves that have different wants and different needs. So for example, when I did parts work with my friend the other day, she had a part of herself that was very sad. And that part was pretty unconscious and felt pretty much unwanted. And the reason why the part was so separate from the other parts was because she was shamed for sadness, And when shame creates like separation, like shame is basically the most horrible thing you can do to a human, because they will just be splittered in a million parts. And so the sadness part was feeling like it was actually not wanted. Like it felt like she didn't like that part of herself. And that creates like huge separation. You can imagine like it's the same thing like in a family, when there is one child that just feels like nobody else like it. Is horrible. It's a war inside of yourself. And so what we do in parts work is that we basically channel that aspect of your personality. And channeling sounds always so esoteric, but it's actually like a very daily practice, because you can imagine when you walk in through your daily life and when you watch yourself, like for example, let's say you're at home right now, where you're watching, suddenly your mom would come into the room. How would you react differently? You would probably become a super different person. Maybe, for example, you don't even talk about spirituality when you're not, looking into spiritual topics. Or, for example, like, I'm a completely different person with Matt because we are so connected and close. Like I was in my office job. Like there, I'm a totally different person. I'm not so open, not so loving and stuff. Yeah, and so when we channel, we only consciously let an aspect of ourselves like come forward. And as I said already, the great thing is that yes, we have parts in ourselves that are really hurt and really painful, and we have parts in ourselves that we don't really like, because obviously we also reject things that are socially unacceptable. Like angry parts are very often like super rejected. But there's also like super great parts of us that we reject. Like, for example, with Matt, we actually channeled the divine masculine, which he wasn't very much aware of. But whoa, that was like amazing. That's like a part of him that is so masculine and beautiful and powerful. It's like, almost like a godlike part. And everyone has those of us, you know? So if you want to do you can do like a fun exercise with parts work and like channel. For example, I channeled the other day the part of me that is super successful, and it was so funny because she is like, this part of me is like so posh, she wanted to drink tea in a hotel and stuff. But what happens is that it's like an aspect of our consciousness that is concentrated on the business and concentrated on how you get successful. It's like that aspect of your consciousness just has a lot of knowledge about that because they are paying attention when then comes. So you can think about this maybe like in a psychological way. And now, because I channeled her and I talked to her, I'm much more business savvy, So it's kind of like you are unlocking your own potential with this self-awareness exercise. Yeah, you are. And Thiel always says that you have everything in you. And for example, if someone identifies as a shy person, shyness at some point was your coping mechanism. That's why you are shy. But actually, there's a part of you that is like super successful. And I actually had this story with my client, Carrie. She had social anxiety for such a long time. And now with doing parts work and secretion process, she was able to let go of that and have a talk in front of hundreds of people, and she felt good about that. And that is not like a magic trick. That is just like getting in touch with the whole of you. Yeah, your whole village. Okay, let's see what they are saying. Oh, you guys are such a beautiful couple. Never Gladdy, but you both again.
That's
Aww.
sweet. Thanks, Emma.
Now you have to
That's
take your shirt off.
I knew it was coming to this.
Oh, hello, Annalot. Oh, thank you. Oh, Amanda says, that's amazing to know that parts work can be you connecting to a positive part of yourself and not just a traumatized part of you.
Yes. It can be a lot of fun, parts work. A lot of fun.
What was your most fun experience with parts work?
The divine masculine was pretty intense. That's for sure. Which other ones? Ancient parts.
The part of you that knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. That's a good one. Other part of me, sometimes I can feel very confused about the future and what I want to do, and I can channel this part of me which really knows exactly what to do, and it's a super real nice part I can channel, and I can feel very like centered and calm, and it's really like, just knowing that everything I'm doing is fine, knowing the right decisions to make. It's a really, really cool part to channel. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And for example, what I actually did as a parts works exercise, and I want to experiment this, doing this with all of my clients because I think that everyone could actually benefit. So what I talked when I talked with Linda about her parents is that I did parts work with the parts of me that are both my parents. So as I said, you can find a really good example of what this kind of parts work looks like when we work with opposite parts on my YouTube channel. And I will actually upload more and more of these videos because I think it's so great to actually know what it looks like practically. So basically what I did was I went into the part of me that was my mother, and I went into the part of me that was my father. And first of all, I integrated them both. So they were, having relationship problems, and these parts of me were also having problems because they're very different. And through doing the self-awareness, they actually started to understand themselves, and they actually, in the end, like they were loving themselves and not seeing themselves as like these horrible opposites, and that they were just shaming each other. And for me also, additionally, apart from that, of course, it was such a peaceful feeling, and I also realized the strengths that my parents have. now, I mean, I'm so empathic towards my parents, and I was so angry at them, and it's really important to be very real here, because the anger, it makes a lot of sense, and Estelle always says, very important, like, forgiveness is something that comes. You should not try to forgive, because that's not real forgiveness. Forgiveness comes by itself. And I really had a hard time with my, thinking about all the stuff that has happened. And now, through this exercise also, I've moved into a place of empathy. And that was so beautiful. Like, I think the best part I've ever done. And yeah, if you're interested in that, like, you can totally contact me. I think it is so unbelievably beneficial. Yeah. So, whew, wow, that's wonderful. Wow, thank you guys so much for joining. Wow, this was really my first live ever, and you were like super engaged. And oh, thanks for so much for being here. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Aww.
Sweet.
I'm happy now.
No, thank you. It's really nice. Thanks everyone who joins and asks questions. And yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. And I'm very camera shy, so this is a really big thing for me. So yeah.
Well done, baby.
Yeah, I can hear everyone clapping.
Exactly. Oh, someone just joined. Oh, hello. Oh, sorry, we're just about to go off. Do you have one question? Oh, you guys are so cute. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Emma. Lovely. Have a good one. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And yes, one last thing. Like, please all like the video. It would be really, really great. It like really, really helps my channel to grow and expand. Because I think it's such important information to share all of this, so that we not just heal ourselves, but we also heal the world. Like, we all like need to step up, so that this planet can actually survive, and yeah, we can all have a future together. I think that's my main motivation why I'm doing all of this. I mean, I love to work with my clients. Everyone's like their own universe, but there's really more at stake than just personal freedom and personal integration. It's really about stepping up to have a future together, to have an environment that is healthy, and to have humans that are healthy and happy.
Yes.
That was a cheesy ending.
Quickly, end it. Cool. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Linda.